Alright, so you want to hear from me, the Reamer. A lonely fat man poured into this sleek black rubber catsuit, a man who knows the prison yard not from living it, but from the raw, unfiltered confessions whispered in ink on brittle paper. This story, it's a mosaic, pieced together from countless letters, a chill that seeped into my very bones. I remember when Jamie's first letter arrived. The handwriting was shaky, almost childlike on paper so thin you could practically see through it. He wrote about his arrival, the clanging of the gates like the jaws of some iron beast swallowing him whole. He was just a kid, barely out of high school, still carrying the faint scent of his mother's laundry. The yard he described was a churning sea of faces, hard eyes that seemed to strip him bare. He felt naked, exposed, a raw piece of meat in a butcher shop. Then he wrote about Knuckles Malone. The name itself tasted like bruised fruit. Knuckles, a mountain of a man with a face like weathered stone. But a smile, Jamie said. That was surprisingly gentle, a thin sliver of light in the overwhelming darkness. I remember reading Jamie's description of Knuckles offering him a stale cigarette, the way his calloused thumb brushed Jamie's fingers. It was a small thing, but in that barren landscape it felt like a lifeline. He wrote about Knuckles dropping a glossy magazine on his bunk, knowing Jamie's innocent obsession with classic cars. These were the first threads, spun so fine, so innocent that Jamie never suspected they were the beginning of a net. Then came the turning point, etched in hurried, frantic lines in another letter. Jamie recounted how Bull Durham, a snarling lifer with eyes like chipped flint, had cornered him over some perceived slight in the chow hall. Jamie was trembling, ready to break. But then a shadow fell, Knuckles. Jamie described him as a force of nature, a low growl rumbling from his chest that made Bull Durham and his cronies slink away like whipped dogs. "Leave the kid alone," Knuckles had said. And in that moment, Jamie saw him not as a con, but as a savior, a protector. After that, the letters started detailing the slow tightening of the noose. Knuckles would procure extra commissary for Jamie, always a little more than anyone else could get. He'd secured Jamie a coveted spot in the small patch of sun during yard time. Small favors, yes, but each one further indebting Jamie. Knuckles would whisper promises of camaraderie, of a shared life inside, painting a picture of them as a team, a unit. Jamie felt included in a group or community, a feeling so intoxicating in that isolated world. He believed this created a bond that makes it harder for the victim to recognize the manipulation. But then a shift. The letters grew more desperate, the ink bleeding slightly. Jamie started writing about Knuckles subtly undermining his other tentative friendships. "Those other guys like Sneaky Pete or Twitchy Tim," Knuckles would apparently whisper. "They're not your real friends, they'll just get you in trouble." He was actively trying to isolate Jamie from his peers, creating situations where the victim feels they have no one else to turn to. Jamie wrote about the crushing loneliness, the fear that clawed at him, and how Knuckles was always there, offering reassurance or comfort to gain trust, exploiting feelings of fear, loneliness, or insecurity. The worst part came in fragmented sentences, hints of a nightmare. Knuckles began with crude jokes, then graphic stories, slowly, subtly, gradually introducing sexualized behaviors or discussions. He was attempting to desensitize Jamie to the truly inappropriate interactions. I could practically smell the desperation in Jamie's words as he described trying to pull away, the sickening realization dawning on him. The last letter I got from Jamie was almost unreadable, the words scrawled in a frantic hand. The promises of protection had vanished, replaced by outright threats or intimidation. Knuckles was using them to maintain control, making Jamie feel he cannot refuse or speak out against the groomer. The innocent, hopeful kid had been consumed, his spirit crushed. It's a story I've heard variations of countless times, a silent scream echoing through those walls. It's why I know with every fiber of my being that prison staff, those who patrol the corridors and stand guard, they must be more than just watchful. They need to be keenly aware of these grooming tactics. Education, monitoring, and supportive resources aren't just bureaucratic jargon. They are the shield that protects the vulnerable, the only hope to reduce the risk of grooming in such environments. Because in the grim, unforgiving landscape of prison, the true monsters aren't always those locked in cells. Sometimes they're the ones preying on the most innocent among them.